Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hello. Is there anybody in there? Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone at home? I think the people listening to this podcast are going to be like, what was that, man? A little Pink Floyd moment. Hello, happy, sunshiny people. How are you? How art thou? Talk to me. How's your headspace? Where's your head at tonight? Good, bad, or indifferent? Oh, so here we are. Here we are on another Monday night. This is one of those episodes where, like, you know, I've never done a lot of preparation for my podcast, and I don't edit them, so it's, you know, it's always just whatever's coming through, and it's also whatever's happening as I come in, you know. So, like, you know, I know that I'm doing this every Monday night. So as a general rule, I have it in the back of my head and sometimes the forefront of my head that this is coming up in the day. And there's different levels of mental preparation. Sometimes I think about stuff. Sometimes I don't. So today I tried thinking about things, but I don't force it. So today I tried thinking about things like 2 or 3 times. I kind of looked over some possible topic ideas and none of them really resonated. And I just couldn't get into the rhythm of thinking about this podcast. So I stopped. And then, you know, I figured, what was it? Like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour before showtime. I heard something outside that sounded like an unusual sound. And I still don't know what it was, but the Faith, my dog, was outside. So I went out and to check on her, and she comes walking around the corner and her head's down, and I'm like, uh-oh. And she, you know, it's a benefit living out here in nature, and it's a benefit having these cows and donkeys and all this stuff for her to play with. But she also can't help herself and rolling in feces every once in a while or something else that stinks just as bad. And I took one look at her and she's got this, I didn't smell it. I believe it was crap just down her neck, you know, and I'm like, oh man. So I had to give her a bath like right before the show. So I kind of came sliding in right at the last minute. Zero preparation. But I have a topic. That's a good start. I almost just went like, let's just do a Q&A, you know. Hey, Sarah. So Breckenridge, Colorado now. Okay. All right. You're always in cool places. California, Colorado. Pam, hello from New Mexico with your chili pepper. Welcome. So today, you know, I was flipping through my podcast ideas a little bit on random pieces of paper. I'll show you guys that are watching the video. So these are my podcast ideas on 3 different types of paper. Chicken scratch as they come. So I was kind of flipping through some of the ideas, and nothing was resonating. Then I saw the controlling headspace. And like today was an off day for me work wise. So what I decided to do was I had gotten these stickers on Amazon for your car, like that go on the side of your car or on the hood of your car. And so I got these stickers because they're like 10, 15 bucks each, So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll put some mountains on the side of my Jeep, because I live in the mountains, and whatever. Probably everything I bought altogether was probably less than 40 bucks. So I was like, yeah, all right, and I've had them sitting here for a few weeks, and this is where the headspace comes in. So now taking vinyl stickers, or I think they're vinyl, or some of them are, whatever, and putting them on a vehicle and trying to not get bubbles in them and all this stuff, right? That is something that's perfectly wrong for me. I could get anal about it. I can get frustrated. I can, if I'm not in the right headspace, I can rush a little bit and move the wrong way and fold them in half and screw up everything and then get really pissed. And so this is one of those things that I needed to make sure I was in good headspace for. So this is why they've been sitting here for 3 or 4 weeks, probably, because I was not going to rush them. I had no idea how I was going to get them on. My first instinct was to, pay somebody to put them on. But you got to take the culture into consideration over here. Like if you ask somebody over here if they can do something, the answer is yes. It doesn't matter what it is. Like they can be like, you can ask anybody on the street, can you perform brain surgery? And they'll be like, absolutely. Let's get started. It's just this, it's how they are, because it's a possibility for money. And so they're just like, yes. And then they figure it out along the way. And then another thing that's common with the culture is that they'll just go try to put it on, and they won't read directions. They won't figure out how to do it. They won't take their time. And this is something that really requires some precision. Right. So I'm like, so I can just picture somebody going, oh yeah, you just rip this off and you stick it on. And it's like, no, that's not how they work. And now your sticker's erect. So I'm like, so I just left them there. And I was like, maybe a day will come when I feel like doing it, or maybe I'll have somebody help me someday. Like I just didn't rush it. So today I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to try. I'll try one. And, I watched the video like 4 times. I'm reading the directions, trying to get my mind wrapped around the process of what to do. And I'm like, okay, this is the headspace. I had to make sure I was in the right headspace. A friend of mine was helping me at one point, and we're laughing about it because she was saying, one of my neighbors, she was like, yeah, this is one of those things that I pay people to do because it would frustrate me. And I'm like, I'm the exact same way. So that's why I had to make sure my headspace was right. So first I center myself and get my head. And this might seem, I don't know, I guess it might seem over the top for some people. It's not for me. And I don't know if it's not for me just because of my personality in general, or because of the life I lived before. Like I can get upset still. So I had to get my headspace in and make sure I was unattached to the outcome, because that's often what triggers negative headspace. Is if something goes wrong, you start panicking. Why are you panicking? Because the outcome isn't going to be what you want, right? So if you're not attached to the outcome, then you can control your headspace better. So I center myself and I go, Glenn, are you in good? Don't even start if you're irritated about something or if you're not completely present, because you don't stand a chance. Like, if we're, and this applies to everything, I'm going to use applying the stickers as a real life example because I just did it a couple hours ago. But this is everything. You can use this when you're about driving in your car and you don't want to get upset driving. You can use this when you're going into a meeting. You can use this when you're about to have a difficult conversation with somebody. You can use this in any and every situation. It really pushes us into conscious living and making conscious choices and being more in control of ourselves. So first, I center myself and it's like, okay, how are you feeling, Glenn? Whoa, okay. If you're feeling a little discontented, which a lot of times you don't even notice until you put your attention on it. Another benefit of this, see, you're going to see the benefits, just there's many of them, and you're going to see them unfold. I haven't even really gotten started yet, and I think I've already listed 2 benefits. But so first you can realize, like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm really not in that good of a headspace. If you just go do something, especially stuff that can be difficult. You can do this with anything, but especially the things that could be difficult or you could get frustrated with, or they could go south easy, especially those, but you can do it with everything. So first you go, okay, once you center yourself, if you're all caught up in some negativity, like you feel that as soon as you become present, you're like, whoa, okay. All right. Well, let's let go of whatever that was. And if you need to work through something, you work through something. If you don't, sometimes it's just a matter of getting disconnected from the collective. I can't think of the word. The collective momentum. Thank you. The collective momentum that is going so fast on this planet. Everybody's moving so fast. The energy is moving so fast, and everybody's doing 90 million things, and there's a momentum to that. So just disconnecting from that and just centering yourself. Oof. Oh, okay. All right. Now I'm here. Now I'm present. Okay. All right. You're in good space. Yeah. Nothing's really bothering me. Nothing. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm about to go put these stickers on, and I got to try to be precise, and I could get frustrated easily. I don't know what I'm doing, and I've never done it before, and it's kind of a one-shot deal. So this is a perfect setup to get upset. So it's like, okay, well, how can I prevent myself from being upset? Well, unattachment to the outcome. Okay, so, well, these stickers let me get my consciousness involved in this. See, we got to slow down and do this stuff. I know I'm not the only one. We have to slow down and do this stuff. This is how we live consciously. Like, controlling your headspace is a gateway to living consciously, because you choose your outlook on things. You choose how to approach them. You choose how you're going to react if something doesn't go your way. You're consciously choosing what your experience is going to be, instead of staying in this unconscious state and just trying to plow through. And then, So I'm like, okay, well, if things go wrong, am I going to get upset? Well, of course I'm going to get upset. Okay, well, why? Attachment to the outcome. Okay, so how can I be unattached to the outcome? Well, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It's okay. Like, I'm going to use some specifics from my example, just because they're going to be different for everyone. And this isn't like, I've got an old beat up Jeep, man. It's strong and it's dependable to get me up and down this mountain. And Dominican Republic, that's all I need. I don't need something luxurious and fancy. It would probably break in 2 trips, so, but it's not the most beautiful looking thing. It's nice, it's fine. But I don't really care if it doesn't look perfectly beautiful. Oh, okay. So if you screw up the stickers and they don't look just right, it'll probably still be fine, huh? Yeah, that'll be fine with me. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just trying it. Or, I can probably take them off. And I mean, like I said, I think all of them together, and I got a bunch of them, were probably like $40 altogether. So it's not like it's a huge investment. Whatever. Throw it in the trash. You tried. Oh, okay. So if it doesn't work out, then I can just kind of throw them away and say I tried. Or maybe they'll come out close enough where maybe I can just let go of that anal nature that they have to be perfect, and it'll give me I'll just be like, no, it's close enough. Live with it, Glenn. Okay, good. So I've done that with things. Sometimes things don't turn out exactly the way I want them, and I go, okay, well, this is a learning opportunity, Glenn. Don't get overly anal with how things look. Don't lean into the OCD direction. Lean away from it. If it's not perfect, it's fine. It's good enough. So I got my head in all that in the right space. Now all of a sudden I'm more relaxed and I can start doing this stuff without putting so much pressure on myself. And as I'm performing these movements, as I feel, since I took a little time, and what I discussed probably took me 2 or 3 minutes, but if you take 10 minutes to prepare yourself to do something before you do it, it's probably going to go a lot better. Because that's the space I'm in. That's the headspace I'm in. I'm in calm headspace. I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm already prepared that if this doesn't work out exactly how I want it, it's okay. Oh, okay. So now all of a sudden I have the pressure off of myself. I'm more relaxed. I'm less likely to make a mistake. I'm in good headspace. I go in there, I start doing things. And if something starts going wrong, or I start hyper focusing and getting too anal with it, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't match the headspace that I'm in. So then I can just go, okay, since it feels weird, it captures my attention. And it's like, oh yeah, relax. You're getting uptight. Relax. It's okay. Oh yeah, okay. And I put the first one on the hood, and like I had to center it and stuff, and it came out good. I was surprised. Then I had to do these little ones, and they kept sticking to the backing, the wrong side instead of the right side, and I had to keep working, but I finally got them to work. And since I was in good headspace, my brain wanted to get frustrated a few times. What the hell's the matter with these stickers? They're supposed to stick on this side and they're sticking on the wrong side. And I could have gotten frustrated, but I just kept bringing myself back to that right headspace and doing it. And then when I finally got it, it was nice. And then I put one long one on the side, on a door on each side, and they were long. It was like a mountain range, right? So they're long, and I'm like, I think I need, could I do this? Yeah, maybe. But boy, another pair of hands would be helpful. So I went and asked the neighbor if she could help me. Again, good headspace, not that's a conscious choice. I don't usually ask for help, and then even on the video, the guy was genius. He put this mountain range across the car, right? And then he's like, I'm thinking to start on one side and work your way across so you don't get the bubbles. He puts it across and attaches the top and then works his way down. And I was like, oh my God, that's genius. I might be able to do that alone. And I was like, Glenn, maybe you could, but just another pair of hands would be better. relax and just take it easy, get some help. Yeah, okay. And when I'm in good headspace, I can make those conscious choices. When I'm not in good headspace, like sometimes, maybe good isn't the right term. Good is the right term when you're in good headspace, but the opposite of good headspace isn't necessarily bad headspace. Sometimes it's bad headspace, but sometimes it's unconscious headspace. It's just we're just moving too fast. We're not really slowing down and thinking about what we're doing and why we're doing it. We just do. Right. So, so me, I mean, if I wasn't centered, I would not have asked for help, because I don't usually. And I just find a way to get things done myself. But no, slow down, disconnect from that momentum. Yeah, that would be easier. It's not that big of a deal. It'll probably take us 15 minutes, So I did it. And as soon as she came over, she was like, yeah, this is one of those things that I would pay somebody to do, because it would frustrate me. I'm like, yeah, I get it. And then I I had this flash when she said that, of this meme I saw like a year ago or something, that reminded me of my childhood. Somebody said that there was this meme that went out that said something like, you can't offend me. I helped my father work on a car when I was a kid. Now, this, a lot of people will resonate with that, like, yeah, man, I helped my father work on cars. I helped my father build a entertainment center for our living room out of wood. Me and my father redid a bike. I wanted like I don't even know, like a BMX style bike, I wanted that. So what we did is we went to the junkyard, literally to the dump, and got a frame of a bicycle that was thrown into the trash, that was God knows how many years old. I mean, this thing was ancient. I had never even seen a bike put together this way. But we wet sanded it all down and painted it and built a bike. So like, I had done projects with my father, and all you got to do is like, back, at least when I grew up, when you're working with your father, it's just like nowadays, they get frustrated, and then you got a kid that's either asking stupid questions because they're young and they're curious, or they give them the wrong tool, or they don't hold the flashlight right, or something. So it's like, you get an earful. And it's funny, because I caught myself doing that to my son a couple times, when he was trying to help me, and you get a little short with him, because you're already in bad headspace, so you take it out on them. So I was kind of laughing as I went through this, and I was like, cool. So to finish up this specific example and then move on in the topic, I got them all on, and they really came out nice. I'm really surprised. They came out better than I thought they would. These things are pretty easy to put on. Yeah, they're pretty easy to put on, because I don't think I was. I don't think I'm really talented in this area, but they came out really nice. I was impressed. So with the stickers, and I guess now in hindsight, I was impressed with myself, because I stayed in that proper headspace. This is everything. This is before I do a podcast, center. Before I get on a call with a client, center for a moment. Just take a moment and center, and just go, okay, like, think ahead. Like, when I'm going to work with a client, a lot of times I'll kind of do I'll put a little thought into it, more than just centering, so I'll center, and I'll be like, okay, are you, disconnect from anything out there that might be bothering you, center in here, and then get yourself in good headspace. And, what are you about to do? Well, I'm about to open up and try to allow information to flow through me to help them to the best of my ability. Okay, cool. You ready for that? Yeah. Yeah, I'll feel that when I ask that question, I'll feel like calmness or some. Yeah, okay, good. If I don't, it's like, something, some crappy feeling comes up. It's like, oh, whoa, okay, wait a minute, what's that? Let it go, release, just let it go, man. Like focus. You're about to go work with somebody here, so focus on where you are and get yourself there. Oh yeah, okay, all right. And then you can just like go. Beauty of problems is, I learned this very early on. Like we think we have to handle problems when they're in our head, and we don't. Like we can put them down and come back to them. And if they're a real problem, it'll still be there. Don't worry. You're our ego tells us it needs to be fixed now, which 99% of the time is not the case. It doesn't need to be fixed now. As a matter of fact, rushing to fix it is usually what makes it worse. So, get into the habit of just putting those problems down and then go back to them. It's okay. If it's a real problem, it'll still be there. If it runs away on you, oh, that's even better. Then now you don't have that problem, right? So, and sometimes when you go back for them, they aren't there, or they fix themselves, or it wasn't really that big of a deal because you're in better headspace. So, put things to the side and focus on what you're doing. Get yourself into the right headspace for what you're doing. So, this, like I said, this is a gateway to conscious living because you slow down, you disconnect from the unconscious momentum of just unconsciously doing things. Oh, I gotta do dishes. Okay, I'm doing dishes. What am I gonna do when I'm doing the dishes? I'll vacuum. Yeah, okay, vacuum. Okay, I'm vacuuming and bang, and I hit something like, like you're not even there half the time. Half the time we're doing stuff, we're lost in thought, or we're certainly not focused on what we're doing, and we're certainly not focused on our headspace, right? So this is a gateway into making conscious choices and living more consciously. So, hey, Mike, Arizona in the hizzy. Yeah, Sarah, you can fly over to apply some stickers next time. That'd be cool. And let me know if you guys have any questions as we go through this. But really, headspace is everything because it determines how we interact with what we're doing instead of unconscious reactions or just momentum pulling us. We're more in control of our behaviors and our actions, and things go better, instead of running around. If we don't do this, those stickers don't come out right. Those stickers are in the trash barrel. There's at least a 75% chance. Those stickers, if I didn't center myself, there's probably a 75% chance that those stickers would be in the trash right now. Because, like, let's say I got them good enough, okay? Where, how I said earlier, in my good headspace, I'm like, hey, don't get overly anal. Even if they're not perfect, it's okay. If I don't do that and I don't do any of it, and then it starts getting, by the time I start realizing that it's not exactly right, I'm already frustrated. The ball is already rolling down that hill. So now them not being right compounds my frustration. So now it's not just about them not being right. It's about, I'm frustrated. I tried doing it. It didn't go right. It attached to my pinky finger, and I don't even know why it did that. And it's snowballing into a melee. And by the time I'm done, it probably could be 90% fine. And I'd be so damn frustrated from my whole experience that I'm like, it looks stupid anyway. And you rip it off, you know, and you crumple it up and then you throw it in the trash. You know, so it's, you know, if we're not taking the time and controlling our headspace, things do not go well. You know, and this is sometimes I actually have an issue I saw recently is sometimes when I work with people, when I'm not planning on working with people, like I have my work days, right? I see my clients on certain days. And when I'm working, like I'm on, man, those are my work days and I love it and it's flowing and everything's cool. But like sometimes I'll either work with somebody kind of spur the moment, or somebody I know socially will start asking me questions out of the blue, which happened to me the other day. So like I had somebody that I knew socially asking me questions and I wasn't in work headspace, man. I wasn't prepared. So I just started firing out information and my head was somewhere else and the information was right, but then I didn't get the response that I wanted and I wasn't centered. So then I started getting irritated and I got more irritated. And then, you know, then it started coming out my voice that I was irritated. And it's like, I could have avoided all that if I just slowed down and centered myself and got my headspace right. You know, this is like, this is why everybody's running around teaching being in the present moment, living consciously, meditation, being in the now, whatever else you want to call it, you know, mindfulness, whatever. It's all about getting you in the right headspace. This is where we can function effectively from good headspace. If we if we try functioning from bad headspace, well, you're screwed. It's not going to go well. And I don't give a damn what you're doing. If you're trying to change the channel on the television, it's probably not going to go well if you're in bad headspace. If you're talking to somebody, if you're in bad headspace, it's not going to go well because so I'll focus on the bad headspace a little bit. Bad headspace is basically when you're wrapped up in negative energy. That's why I think that there's kind of like 3 versions here. We can be in good headspace, we can be in bad headspace, or we can be in unconscious headspace, right? So the unconscious headspace is just when we're going through life 90 miles an hour and we're just reacting to things and not really paying attention to what we're doing. And, you know, plenty of problems can transpire because of that. Bad headspace is when you're specifically in bad headspace, like negative headspace. And this is, for me, like I have to, you know, I have rules, man. I have made rules in my life. When I'm in bad headspace, I'm not allowed to think about anything and I'm not allowed to come to conclusions on anything. Because when I'm in bad headspace, only negative thinking matches that energy. Like when you're in bad headspace, you're wrapped up in negativity. So when, you know, nothing good, nothing positive matches that energy. You're looking for more negative. You're in negative energy. You're wrapped up in it. I mean, you got to be wrapped up in it. It's consuming your thinking, you know? So you're in this bad headspace. You're just negative. And then somebody comes and goes, isn't it a wonderful day? And you just want to choke them. That's because it's not because it's not a wonderful day. And it's not because you hate people that are pleasant, right? No, it's strictly because their energy doesn't match your energy. That's why. It rubs you the wrong way, goes up your ass sideways because it's like, you know, it doesn't match the energy that you're in. So only negativity matches negativity. So if I'm in bad headspace and I try figuring things out or coming to conclusions on things, it doesn't go well because most of the time I'm sitting there and I'm going, well, okay, well, what if I did? Well, that probably won't work because of this, that, and the other thing. And I don't even know why I bother. That's the type of thinking that goes through my head when I'm in negative headspace. So I'm like, okay, you're not allowed to think of stuff because everything sucks when you're in negative headspace. So what's the sense in thinking about things? And your brain tells you, oh, this is the truth, man. When you were walking around happy for the last 2 years, that was a lie. And you had your head in the clouds, or you buried your head in the sand. You were deluding yourself of the reality that everything sucks. Now that you see everything sucks, this is the real truth. Like, that's what your head says. And, years ago, I kind of, I would dance back and forth with these things a little. And I noticed my brain saying that. And I was like, well, how do I know what the truth is then? Like if I'm in negative headspace and my brain is saying, this is the real truth, you're looking at things realistically now. It really says it with some conviction, like, and it actually kind of makes sense to me when I'm in negative headspace. So maybe that is the truth. How do I know? So what I went on a mission because that's what I do to try to figure this out. So I waited until I came up with an idea. I'm going to compare the two, because I think when I'm in good headspace, I don't know now because I'm in bad headspace, but I think when I'm in good headspace, I think that that's the truth. So I'm going to compare it. So when I was in bad headspace, I was like, yeah, well, why? And it was all this rational reasoning behind it. Like, well, what I perceived as rational reasoning. And it was all thinking based. And it was like, yes, I'm confident that I am sure that this is the case. And it was all like a mental exercise. And I took note of that. So then I got in better headspace, and I started thinking about some of the things I was thinking about in negative headspace. And of course, I had a completely different perspective, and everything was fine and all that. And then I went, okay, well, is this the truth? How do I know that this is the truth? And the negative way of thinking isn't the truth. So I kind of tuned in, and what I noticed was that I felt the truth in my body more. When I was in good headspace, I was like, no, man, I know everything's okay. I know that things are going to work out. I know it. I know it in my body. Like, there's an inner knowingness. So I noticed a difference. I was like, okay, that's in my body, and my negative headspace was in my head. So there's a differentiation. And then I started using some rationale and said, okay, intellectually, like, do I have good reasons for this, or am I just floating around feeling good? And intellectually, I came up with some solid reasons. And I'm like, okay, so intellectually, I could probably talk myself into believing either one is reality. But the big difference is I felt the truth in my body. That I always believe. My head can play tricks on me. My body always knows the truth. When there's that inner knowingness, that's what I trust. And then I noticed that there was one other little piece. The other little piece is, what if I don't know? Like, what if I'm wrong? What if the negative really is the truth? Or what if neither one of them is the ultimate truth, and I'm just picking one? Like, what about those scenarios? And I was like, well, if I go with the negative, I just feel like crap. If I go with the positive, I feel good. So I'm just going to go with the one that feels good. Like, why not? Like, we're going through life, and somebody says, hey, we have a free dinner here for you. We know that you really like lobster, so here's some lobster for you. And we know that you really hate liver and onions, So here's some liver and onions for you. So take your pick. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to pick the one you like, right? Well, I like feeling better. So why don't I just pick the one that feels better? Quite honestly, I don't even really care if I'm lying to myself. I don't care. Do I get to walk through life enjoying myself and feeling good and enjoying life? If I do this, yes. Okay, well, I'm going to take that door, please. Because I would rather be wrong and happy than right and miserable any day. So that's the other reason. Now, I truly believe that I trust my inner knowingness. So I believe that that's the actual truth. But honestly, deep down, I don't really care. I don't care. This is why a lot of my spirituality, it's like, I opened to spirituality. I didn't learn it intellectually. So I did study a lot of teachers after I awoken to make sense of what I had opened up to and to learn a language to be able to share it with other people. But I opened up to it. So I just opened up and understood stuff differently. So like at the end of the day, I don't care about specifics. And I differ from a lot of other spiritual teachers and a lot of people on spiritual paths, because they want to, like, they'll choose a story. Maybe it's the Christian story, maybe it's the Hindu story, maybe it's the Buddhist story, maybe it's some other story, and that explains the spirituality. And they'll be like, well, this is the truth. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, what do you mean you don't care? Those are all lies, and this is the truth. That's important. I'm like, it's not important to me. It's just not. I don't care. I don't care about the story. What I care about is how I can apply it, the actual nugget of spiritual truth. I just want to implement that into my life and live a better life. That's it. I don't care what story is attached to it. So I don't care if I'm lying to myself. I don't care if I'm telling myself the truth. I don't care if I believe in a right story or if I believe in a wrong story. And if I implement this, does it benefit me and my life and those around me? Yes. Okay, I'm in. It's that simple. Let's see. Sarah says, but some people get so used to their misery that it becomes what makes them happy because it's comfortable. Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't make them happy. And I know you have it in quotes because you know that too. Yeah, it makes them comfortable, right? And that's fine. I think so. I'm going to go out on a limb here because I notice patterns. And Sarah's pattern is you want to help people so badly. Oh my God. So badly. And it's a struggle for you because you have such a big heart that it drives you crazy that you can't help people. When you see, like, you understand a lot of this stuff, and you felt the joy that comes with living like this. So, like, you see a good movie and you want to tell 10 people. Well, you get The Secret to Life, you want to tell 1 billion people. So, like, you get all this excitement to share it. And it seems like there's a fair amount of people around you. I don't know if it's family or friends, but that you interact with on a regular basis that are just, they aren't ready, and the more we push them, the more they're going to close off. It's like we have to give people space, because that's what love is. That's what we say, oh, yes, but I want what's best for them. No, that's control. Having compassion, it's a very fine line. We can feel for these people. We can be like, oh man, I wish they'd get it. Oh, you just made me cry, Sarah said. Yeah, well, you've got a huge heart and you want to help, but it's like we cannot. It's actually detrimental. It pushes them away because everybody feels energy. So like when we're trying to help somebody that doesn't want to be helped, it's manipulation and control energy, and they can feel that and they push away from it even more. But if we just accept them for where they are and just be like, yeah, that's where they are. I still love them. And I wish they would open up to this stuff, but they don't have an interest in it. And that's okay. It's okay. Like accept them for them as they are, where they are. Just accept them. Practice acceptance and loving them as they are, and stop thinking that they could be somewhere better. When they're ready to try to get someplace better, they know that you're there. You'll probably be the first person they come to, and then you can help them. But until that point, you've got to give them space and just accept them for where they are. It's okay. I have, my family is not on the spiritual path that I'm on. I have many friends who are on a spiritual path that I'm on, and that's okay. Like I don't, I'll talk to them about this stuff because they're my family and they love me, and so they'll they'll wonder what goes on in my brain sometimes, so we'll have conversations about it, but then sometimes we won't talk about it at all. But what I don't do is I never try to get them to get on this path, because I don't know if this is their path. Plus, like my way is not for everybody. Some people listen to me and think I'm an idiot. So which is fine. I'm not supposed to be life coaching 8 billion people. So it's, so maybe their spiritual path is different and they shouldn't be on mine. It's, so we just got to not try to convert people. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get I'm trying to get back to where I was. I'm not far off. This all ties in, but I'll try to get back on topic a little bit. So with the negative headspace, so where I kind of jumped off was, it's like, I don't care if it's true. Does it make me happy? And I know it's true too, but yes, it does. Okay, it makes me happy and it enhances my life and the life of those around me. So I'm going to continue to do that. Well, I can make that choice if I'm in conscious headspace. So we got to understand negative headspace is bad because it's negative energy. Like Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body. And I like when he talks about the pain body. I love that he uses that example because the way he talks about it is the pain body is a separate entity from us, and it's in charge when you're in negative headspace. So I like the separate entity aspect of it. So like the mentality is that, like, we are not angry. We have the pain body has anger energy, and that pain body is attached to us. So anger, I'm not angry. I have anger energy attached to me that's in control of what I'm saying or doing at this particular time. The reason I like that is because, of course, I'm still in control of what I do. You can't use that as an excuse for poor behavior, because it's still your energy field is your responsibility. So it's not about that. I like the separation because it starts getting us used to understanding that there's nothing wrong with us. And there isn't. There's nothing wrong with us. Like, we're fine. We are divine. We are perfection. Everything's fine. Sometimes if anger energy takes us over, or the pain body takes us over and is directing our speech and our thinking, well, then we can go down the wrong road. So what the best thing we can do is use our awareness, capture that, and hit the brakes and just stop. Because if we continue trying to function and think through things and come to conclusions when we're in that headspace, nothing good is going to come out of it. And you're not thinking clearly, because that anger energy, not only does it only match other negative thoughts and behaviors, so it never matches up to anything positive, but also it starts, anger starts shutting down your brain, starts pushing you into fight or flight. So your brain literally starts shutting down, so you can't think clearly. So so you're not capable of thinking well, and the only thoughts that are going to make sense to you are negative ones. Nothing good comes out of that. So this is why it's so important to, a lot of times in life, I'm in a good position right now where if I need to, if I can't, like a lot of times you can get yourself out of bad headspace, right? Sometimes you can't. So fortunately, sometimes I'm just like, I can actually, if I can't get myself out of bad headspace, I will literally come home and just not do anything for the rest of the day. Now, if I have clients, that's different, because as soon as I disconnect my brain from my life and focus my energy and my attention on somebody else, that gets me right out of bad headspace every time. And it's wonderful because I can still work, and that is actually a good tool for people trying to get out of bad headspace. If you're trying to get out of bad headspace, stop thinking. Well, stop thinking about your life, right? We already kind of discussed that, or coming to any conclusions. But so what do you do, right? Think about something else. I mean, on my off days, I might just sit there and watch a few movies. So I don't. But one of the best ways, and I teach this in recovery, when all else fails, go help somebody else. Is what it does is it disconnects your brain from your stuff and you start thinking about somebody else's stuff. That's one of the best ways about helping somebody else. That's one of the best ways to disconnect yourself from bad headspace. It's a great tool. Go help somebody. Go help somebody else, because you're not thinking about you. You're very negative headspace is the pity pot. You're very self-absorbed. You're very everything sucks and me. So when you disconnect from that and you start focusing on somebody else, then it's a very good tool. Again, you still got to be conscious, because if you're just running around bad headspace and you're like, everything sucks. Glenn said I'm supposed to go help people. All right, I'm going to go help you. Hey, what do you need help with? Well, you can't freaking do it like that, Relax, take a pill, disconnect from your pity pot, and start focusing on that person and focus on the idea of helping them. Shift your headspace at least a little before you actually attempt it. Don't run at somebody all pissed off and say you're here to help them. So clear that headspace. What else am I going to touch on? I just said that, sometimes I'll disconnect for a day and I just won't do anything. Yeah, if I can. And, when I work with others, that I can still do that. So in my life, where I am right now, I have kind of a lot of days, probably at least 75% of the time, I'm in negative headspace. I have options. It wasn't always like that. One option is to work with my clients, which pulls me out of it and I'm fine. The other option is to shut down for the whole entire day. And if I can't get out of it, I always try to get out of it first. And sometimes it's very dense and very thick, and then I can't. But not everybody can do that. People can't just, what you do is you minimize. I wasn't always able to do this. So I had to do it just like you would have to do it for many, many years, so that, when you have to be at work all day and you're in bad headspace and you can't quite get out, you just minimize, man. You minimize, and you don't try to come to any conclusions on anything. You don't minimize your conversations, minimize, your thinking. If there's anything you can put it off. Hey, can I get back to you on that tomorrow? Like, you don't have to give them a full explanation, but, create some space for yourself and just minimize. And if there's something you need to do, then it's even more important that you are conscious about your headspace. So if you can't, so here's a fourth option, right? I get this information unfolds as I talk about it. So we talked about good headspace. We talked about bad headspace. And we talked about unconscious headspace. Well, when you're in a situation when you're in bad headspace and you can't get out of it and you have to be at work, well, you can minimize that and just try not to take things too seriously and try to create space and just, and you just have to be really conscious, really come into the present moment and really understand I am in bad headspace. Nothing good comes out of bad headspace. I have to be really careful with what comes out of my mouth. I have to think 3 times and speak once before I say something. Slow down, live more consciously. Then you can be in control. Slow everything down and you can tell people too. I mean, I've told tons of people, be like, oh man, I'm just in really bad headspace. Is this like mandatory that we need to do this now? Because I'm trying to be positive, but it's just things aren't going well right now. Can I just get back to you on this? Like, because everybody's had a bad day. Everybody's been in bad headspace. So most of the time they'll identify, or they'll be like, no, or maybe they'll tone it down a little bit, to try to be like, oh, okay, he's having a tough day. Let's just go easy. Okay, yeah, let's everybody go easy. Talk to me with kid gloves. See, one of the things I learned, like when I first woke up pretty much was I'm fine with if people thinking that there's something wrong with me. Like if somebody goes, oh, Glenn is really moody and you got to be really careful how you talk to him. Good. I have no problem people thinking that of me. That's fine. Good. Be careful when you talk to me, because that's all. Like, I just like it when people talk to me consciously. I like it when people think before they speak to me. I like it when people are courteous when they interact with me. I like that. Now, if they need to tell themselves that Glenn is moody for that to get them to act courteous to me in a courteous manner to me, okay. Because all I care about is the end result. Are you going to behave in a courteous fashion with me? Yes. Okay. That's what I want. That's what I like. We're good. Whatever you have to tell yourself to get yourself to be courteous with me, I could care less. That's fine. I can be dinner conversation. I've been dinner conversation my whole life, especially when I was younger. That's actually a real term. When I was in high school, some girl I went to school with came to me and she said, oh, you were dinner conversation last night. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, we sit down for dinner and you were the talk of the conversation last night. I was like, oh, and I don't remember. I'm sure I did something stupid and got in trouble at school or something. And the parents must have heard about it. So they were sitting there going, hey, did you hear what Glenn Ambrose did? Don't do that. Don't be like a Glenn Ambrose. I'm sure it was something along those lines, you know. But yeah, it was dinner conversation, and I got a kick out of the term dinner. Oh, I was dinner conversation. Like I felt honored. You know. So like I don't care about dinner conversation. Like people can have whatever dinner conversations they want, and they can think poorly of me, they can think highly of me, whatever. You know, what I'm concerned with is, can we get along with one another? You know. Yeah, okay, cool. Feeling that I have a temper helps that. Thumbs up, I have a temper then. You know. And I do. I have a temper. I have a leftover temper. You know, I mean, I still get upset. Let's see. Being aware that you're even in that space is the key. Knowing it's temporary and tomorrow will be better. Oh, beautiful point, Tina. I agree with you 100%. Being aware that you're even in that space is key. Knowing it's temporary and tomorrow will be better. Yes, and most of the time tomorrow is better. Every once in a while, you have a few crappy days in a row. It's all right. Not that big of a deal. You get through it. But yes, awareness is key. This is why meditation helps so much. This is why living consciously lives so much. The more we practice this, we can pick up on this. And that, you know, awareness, I don't pray for much, like as far as for me, you know, like I don't know. I just never really have. I don't, you know, sometimes I do here and there, but for me, it's more, prayer is more like this. It's like there's two sides to the coin. The side that everybody hears is God will not do for us what we can do for ourselves, and that's true. But the other side of that coin is God will do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. That is how I figure out my prayers. If it's something that I can do, I don't ask God to do it for me. If there's something I can't do, then I ask God to do it for me, because that's the rule. So that's what dictates my prayers for the most part. So when I pray, like it's awareness. She said, being aware that you're even in that space. Awareness is probably the number one thing I have prayed for in my life, because it's a great prayer and it works awesomely, because we are responsible for changing our lives and monitoring how we do things, right? So if our life is our responsibility, God's not going to be coming in and taking us out of that headspace and stuff like that, right? But if we're unaware, if we're not even realizing we're in bad headspace, or we're not even realizing we're moving too fast and we need to slow down, or that we're behaving unconsciously, if we're not even aware that we are, then how can we change it? We can't, right? So if we're not aware, then we can't make the changes. Boom, we just dropped into God's little plan. So we go, okay, God, I need your help here. Please give me awareness when I'm behaving unconsciously. Please bring me awareness when I'm in bad headspace. Please bring me awareness. Please make me aware. And it comes, man. I'm telling you, it works awesomely. Your awareness gets heightened and you pick up on this stuff. It's starting the next day. Like usually I'll pray at night. The next day I notice a big difference. So it's like you notice that. And as soon as you notice it, though, as soon as the awareness that God gave you is heightened and you go, oh, I'm aware, you need to stop. And that takes practice, because a lot of times when you're in bad headspace, you don't want to stop. You want to go 90 miles an hour and and then all of a sudden awareness pops in and it goes, hey, you're in bad headspace. And you want to go, I know, shut up. And you want to just continue. And you can't. You know, you just made a deal with God. Hey, you give me awareness and then I'll make the change. That's the deal. You got to hold up your end of the bargain, because otherwise your prayers aren't going to work. Like you can't ask for help and then get that help and then not take it and then ask for that help again. I mean, if you screw up here and there, that's fine. But I mean, my point is you actually have to make a conscious effort to do this. And it's not that easy in the beginning. It gets much easier after you do it a few times. But in the beginning, you actually have to be at work in really crappy headspace. And when that awareness pops in, every ounce of energy in your body wants to tell that awareness to go F off. Shut up. And you got to just know, this is the deal I made. I have to stop. I have to stop for a second. Just stop. Breathe. Center myself. Disconnect from that bad headspace. Breathe. And just center yourself. That's it. Now you broke the momentum of that negative headspace, and maybe you won't stay there, but breaking that momentum is key. So let's see. I think I'm going to take one more comment. Susan, my challenge is to stop berating myself when I do get into negative headspace. I'm disappointed in myself, so I stay. Yeah, well, there you go. That's the, that's the thing. I mean, what's funny is the reason I started giggling is because, the answer is built into the question. It's like, I have to stop berating myself when I do get into negative headspace. I'm disappointed in myself, so I stay in negative headspace, right? So it's like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy is what it is. It's like in that sentence, it shows why you shouldn't do it. Like it literally tells you why. I need to stop berating myself, because when I berate myself, it makes me stay in negative headspace. Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of what I meant about with that awareness. I mean, everything, we need to slow down and do everything slower. So like most people, like something that Susan just wrote, most people say this, they speak like this about many, 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 many things. Okay. And what they say, it's because it's an intellectual understanding. So she has intellectual understanding. She says, she knows that she should not berate herself because it keeps her stuck in headspace. So why does she, if she knows that she shouldn't do it, why does she still do it? This is what we need to do with everything. Slow down. Intellectual understanding does not change a person. I've done other podcasts on this. It doesn't change anything. So we need to slow down and go inside and find out why you are berating yourself. If you know it doesn't work and you're still doing it, then there's an unconscious and or subconscious belief system that thinks you are supposed to berate yourself. And those unconscious and subconscious will override our conscious every time. That's why we do things that we know are bad for us, is because that we never slow down enough to go inside and find out the subconscious or the unconscious roadblocks, the objections. Like you're saying, I shouldn't berate myself. Your unconscious or subconscious is saying, yes, you should. So you need to go inside, get still, go into a meditation or center yourself and go, I shouldn't berate myself. And at first, maybe the intellect will kick in and go, yes, that's right, you shouldn't. Then you have to go deeper into your body, put your attention on your body and go, I will no longer berate myself. And then all of a sudden the uncomfortability starts bubbling up. I will no longer berate myself. Oh, the objections start bubbling up. The unconscious belief systems that you're supposed to berate yourself, that if you just don't beat the crap out of yourself, then you'll never change. See, we are conditioned since childhood that through punishment, that negative reinforcement changes negative behavior, and it doesn't. All it does is makes us feel bad about ourselves. They scientifically proven that. So what we need is positive reinforcement. That's what changes negative behavior. We need to feel better about ourselves, not worse. That's what changes it. But we have to get through that childhood conditioning that says, no, if I beat myself up enough, if I punish myself enough, then I will choose a different way of doing things. That's what we've been conditioned. Our whole society is set up on that. That's how our parents raised us. That's how the school system is set up. That's how the jail system is set up. That's how the police force is set up. That's how everything is set up. Our entire society is set up through negative reinforcement for negative behavior. And it doesn't work. It's been scientifically proven to not work in psychology studies. It doesn't work. Why do we not change it then? Well, this is what kills me when like in COVID, everybody was like, oh, you don't believe in science? Like what you get to pick and choose stuff. Like science proved that negative reinforcement doesn't change negative behavior. Only positive reinforcement does that. So why haven't we done it? Like we learned that 30, 40 years ago, at least. Why haven't we done anything in society to change that? Why are the parental systems still the way they are? Why are the school systems still the way they are? Why are the jail systems still the way they are? What, you don't believe in science? It's like we pick and choose when it works for us, and yeah, and there's many different problems with that statement that I won't go into because that's off topic, but my point is that we need to slow down and go within consciously. And as these objections to what we consciously know is the correct way come up, we can field those and go, oh, okay. So yeah, well, when I was 4, I locked into a belief system because my parents said that they were punishing me. So that I would choose something differently. This is why, like with my son, I never punished my son. I never punished him. And I never used that terminology. I gave him consequences for his actions, natural consequences. That's life. There's a difference to that. There's a difference between punishment and natural consequences. And I would explain it to him. Like if a dog doesn't eat, it starves to death and it dies. That's a natural consequence. It's not a punishment. You need to learn how to be responsible. So if you choose to not follow through with your responsibilities that are yours, you're going to have a negative consequence. And the reason is because I need to teach you responsibility. If you're going to go out in life and you're going to have a job and you don't understand responsibility because I never taught it to you, you'd just be like, I don't feel like going to work today. So you just don't go. And then you go into work the next day and you find out you're fired. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, what's the problem here? Oh, I'm going to lose my apartment if you fire me. How am I going to eat? I can't eat. You fired me. It's like, well, yeah, you didn't. That's a natural consequence for not showing up for work. That's just how it is. You don't go to work. We have to get somebody else to do your job. So you're really of no use to us. That's just a natural consequence. So I taught him that way because I didn't want to teach him through negative reinforcement. So we have to go in and reframe that stuff, those unconscious belief systems. And we need to do it by slowing down. So I think that's going to do it for tonight. It's, living consciously, be aware of the headspace that you're in, shift it when you can. Sometimes just being aware that you're in negative headspace and doing a gratitude list, or just thinking about things you're grateful for about, or just looking at something that's pissing you off and go, hey, is there another way I can look at this? Because the way I'm looking at it is pissing me off. So maybe there's a different way of looking at it. And reframing. And I did a podcast on reframing. So sometimes you can reframe things and just now all of a sudden what was causing that negative headspace, it's gone and you're fine. Sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes it goes on for a day, sometimes 2 or 3 days, which hopefully is pretty rare, but it happens, And what we have to do is minimize the damage while it's happening, live consciously, slow down and be aware, and pray for that awareness. So that's going to do it. So thank you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. Good stuff. Yeah. Like I keep doing my checks. This is how I function. I'm always checking. Like, so right now I'm like, okay, I'm ending. So I say that I'm ending the podcast, and then I kind of do a scan of my body. And then sometimes information pops up and says, oh, you forgot to mention this. But right now I just feel calm and like ending it is the right move. So now I'll end it. And you got a little peep into how I function. All right, people. That's going to do it for tonight. Thank you. Talk soon. Peace. Be well.
Looking for more? Check out over 200 episodes of Life Lessons in Laughter, or click the link in the description of this episode to connect with Glenn directly.